Welcome guys for the it's been a little long time. We did not had the community meetings. Uh, uh, Firstly, we have three topics in today's agenda. Shufei will give a brief experience he visited on the KubeCon Shanghai. So he will give some updates about that. And Rohit will provide the kind of new features we have in the list and what are the things we can committee team can also take part in that. And I will brief regarding the to improve on the governance part in the KubeEdge community. So what we can try to do in the plan. Shufe, can you start on the giving the updates regarding the Quebec and Shanghai?
Okay. How about go through the futures and the community first?
Okay, we can go through the features first.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, this is Rohit here. After 1.0 release, we have a couple of features that we plan to basically target in the next release, that is 1.1. So this is just basically an overview of what we want to do. But if the community feels that we can have some more things, please feel free to add. And we intend to basically let community members own more and more features and improve our contributor base. So the first feature that we want to support is support persistent volume claims, so that any stateful applications that want to basically use any local storage or any persistent volumes to store their data at the edge, this would be a very useful feature. The second feature is related to network. Right now, if you see in 1.0, we support something called edge mesh. This feature allows you to basically have pod-to-pod communication via headless services in Kubernetes. But it currently is only limited to communication within the same subnet. And we intend to basically move further and provide communication between any apps running on the cloud. How can they reach to applications running on edge nodes? And further, maybe we can have some more features around this area. So the idea is to basically improve the existing capabilities of edge mesh and make it more and more useful. The third area that we want to support is with respect to devices. We introduced the device management feature. It is in the alpha stage, so we hope we get some feedback from the community as to what is missing with respect to device management, or how we can take this forward. And one of the consumers of this feature is the mappers or the applications which run on edge nodes, connect to devices via different protocols, and then basically get the data into the platform and do further processing. So we implemented Bluetooth and Modbus protocol mappers in 1.0. Going ahead, we see that OPC UA protocol is also very popular. So we intend to provide support for OPC UA. If the community feels that they also can contribute to OPC UA or any other protocols that they are immediate need of, please feel free to propose new mappers for those protocols. The next item that we are looking at is basically how do you improve the reliability of the platform. So right now, if you see, if you have communication between edge nodes and the cloud, we don't have any reliability built into the platform. Like if we send some messages from the edge to the cloud, if they are not delivered, basically we don't have any mechanism to determine whether the message was actually delivered. So there is an open issue for that. And other than that, if you see, we have the next item in the list for separating the path of the control plane and the data plane. Right now, the device twin metadata is also passed on the control plane. We wish to have two separate channels for sending metadata and data. And currently, we have supported Quick protocol, which is a UDP based protocol, which also provides a concept of streams. So we can have different streams for different kinds of data that is passed. But we have seen some uh, performance performance improvement that we were expecting with Quick. We are not seeing until now. We are still evaluating and doing the performance tests. So if we feel that Quick is not as useful as it was supposed to be, like with respect to performance, then we need to think of some other way to provide this the separation of the control path and the data path channels. Other than that, the third item in the list is we want to switch to Protobuf based messages. Right now, all the messages are based on JSON, and serialization and deserialization is little costly when you send messages over the wire. So what we intend to do is like try to compress or make this message format a little more smaller, so that we can have lesser overloads or lesser kind of impacts when we do serialization and deserialization of the data. So we think that Protobuf is a good option for this. So we intend to replace the JSON based format with the Protobuf based format. So I think Kadisi is working on that from the community. And the last item that is there in the list is ingress support. So we have seen some requests from the community members that they are trying to deploy Nginx ingress controllers and they are not able to get it to work. So we feel that as part of the communication between services on the edge and the cloud or between edges, the ingress is a very useful feature that will be required. So we intend to provide support for accessing your services running on edge nodes via ingress controllers. The next big item in the list is scalability. We have a performance test framework right now in place, and we are evaluating how KubeEdge can scale with the number of edge nodes and the number of applications linearly increasing. So we have some issues that need to be resolved so that we see good numbers. So we are trying to basically improve upon the scalability aspect as well. So this has to be continuously worked upon until we get reasonable latencies and throughputs.
Sorry. This is Dave. May I ask a question about the scalability testing?
Yes.
My question is, do you have any plan or any solutions on how to simulate the more than 100 edge nodes or so many applications?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now, basically, if you see our performance framework, right? So we are basically having one control plane for the cloud, and we treat each of the edge nodes, right? We bring each of the edge nodes as a single pod inside the container. So we are using the concept of Docker inside Docker kind of concept, and we are trying to basically mimic edge nodes, basically which are actually VMs or Raspberry Pis, but we are mimicking them as containers. So each edge node will be basically a container that comes up, and it will connect to the control plane. So the design for this performance test framework is there in GitHub. If you want, we can have a separate discussion on how we achieve this kind of framework.
Okay, so which one is better if we talking to the simulation, the container or the guest VM? So which one is better? I think the VM should be better.
VM is VM will be limited to numbers. I think we are targeting some right now 100 of edge nodes. So because of constraints with related to number of VMs, what we thought was like we just need to test the interface between the cloud and the edge. How long does it take, to deploy a pod on an edge node, or how long does it take for a device to report its status back to the cloud? So we are not basically targeting first to test on an edge node how much is the performance gain, but the interface between the edge and the cloud, how can we test that? So for testing the interface, we can still have edge nodes running inside containers, and then let those edge nodes generate some metadata or data, and then you test this interface first. So once the interface is fine, I think you can easily scale to thousands of edge nodes or 2,000 of edge nodes, since they are all running in containers. So bringing up containers is much more faster and cost effective as such, if you consider with respect to VMs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there might be still have some limitations if we do the scalability testing in the Docker container. So will it only focus on the interface, or actually the real performance, such as the networking traffic or the disk usage, or something like that?
Yeah, I think
I think we can divide this work into several phases, and because currently we just have one model of the one model of deployment for the scalability testing, and we not yet have any number officially coming out from the community. So I think first of all we can do this testing to get some number about. So actually this one, the current model is to evaluate how from the control plane perspective, how many nodes at the edge and the applications at the edge can be managed with a set of requirements that, for example, most of the API calls should return in 1 second, like that. But this is just the one of the whole performance testing and the scalability things. So we can still add more design about how to evaluate especially the data plan performance and the scalability.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, moving on, version upgrades. Yeah, so basically, how do we support upgrades of Kubernetes versions? And the second topic is over the air upgrades. So if you have edge nodes which are running edge core softwares and you want to basically upgrade them on the fly over the air, which is commonly provided by IoT kind of solution providers. So we need to think about how can we do these kind of firmware updates, or any other security patches need to be updated, or any major version has to be upgraded. We need to basically think about how to do that. So this can help our customers who are currently using KubeEdge 1.0. If they want to move on to 1.1, then what is the approach that we can take? So moving on to the node. So on the edge node side, we currently have the CRI interface implementation supported, and we support container D as one of the remote container runtime. And we also support Docker. So the support for Docker via the Docker shim is currently in progress, and you can see some PRs are there, which will allow you to basically use any container runtime which is CRI compliant. So support for Docker and containerd is there. If we have any more other container runtimes like CRIO or any other runtime that customer needs, we can consider that and add support for that as well. Yeah. Other than that, we have in the other section, if you see, we have function as a service with Knative, but we have not really thought about how to do that. So yeah, that issue is lying out there. And then with respect to device CRDs, there was some basic validation in place. Basically, how do you validate whether your CRD input data is correct? But still, there is a lot of work to be done with respect to managing the sanity of your data, and how do you basically allow deletion of device models if there are devices which are referring to it, and there is and there are mappers who are already using this metadata. How do you manage them? How do you restart them, or do you watch on these config maps and then reload them, stuff like that? So
Let me give you more explanation on this issue or feature. So Rohiti, I hope my pronunciation is correct. So know the background. I just feel this issue to check what we want to do for the CRD validation. So the CRD validation the YAML validation just provide some basic functionality to verify the data type or the or something should follow the schema validation, and but it cannot capture all the misconfiguration in the YAML file. So besides the basic CRD validation feature, I think the external admission webhook framework might be a good option to also enabled for the KubeEdge project. So currently, I'm still investigating into this feature. This feature this feature is also provided by the Kubernetes, and the concern I have is that this might need some more dependency that will be dropped in the vendor directory. This might make the code base even bigger. So this is the biggest concern for me. I'm not sure is that acceptable from the maintainers or any concerns about on that. But anyway, I will try to give it a prototype or give propose reference implementation in the GitHub, and let others to take a look how it looks like, and hopefully it will be reviewed and giving some comments in the reference implementation.
Yeah, I think that sounds good plan, Dave. Oh.
Okay, so yeah, I checked the dependency. So we don't have some dependency currently in the KubeEdge to enable this feature. So this is the biggest concern for me.
Okay. Yeah, we can check how much is the dependencies and what is the impact. So
okay.
and if it is feasible, we can proceed. So
okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I guess those are the features that we are targeting. I think next, Naveen, you can introduce about the community and the governance process.
Just to add, the issue numbers are mentioned in front of each of the feature. So feel free to share your thoughts or get it assigned to you for implementation, design, etc. Yeah, thank you.
Naveen, you can carry on.
Rohit. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Siddharth. Okay, moving to the next agenda. Shufi, would you wish to update the Shanghai updates, or shall I go ahead with the community governance part? Shufi?
I think maybe we can discuss the community thing first.
Okay.
Just to add to the about the features thing, I think so. Currently, what we have on the list is we can think it's initial version for the next release planning, and we may also need to add more details like prioritize all the tasks so we can see I mean how many resources we can have, and maybe we can add more items, or we need to postpone some of this. We also want to improve the community governance and contributor experience.
Yeah, right, Kevin. Like,
Yeah, and I think we can maybe have a time window to before finalizing the release plan for the coming one, so people can also leave comments offline, and we can iterate on the plan.
Yeah, sure. We have also created the milestone on GitHub. So just in case, we feel that, this feature can be, implemented in time for this release, so we can add the milestone.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Hey guys, like yeah, like very well we know, like we are getting more and more PRs, and community participation has also got increased. So now, like, we should start looking into the having a more organized manner, or like we can see the Kubernetes community is how they are evolving, like in a very organical manner. So in an organized methodology. So I referred some of the documentations. I understood, like it's time, like we should start form some of the groups, especially they have some different groups. So I thought, like we can have some SIG groups. Basically, I thought like even with discussing with the KubeEdge maintainers, we can have some SIG documentation group, SIG release group, which will focus on the basically on the release packaging and release planning, that kind of thing. And a SIG architecture group, predominantly we can look into the decision making on the what kind of features will come, and the design proposals reviews, and code review part of that, and ensuring that it still remains in architecture is compatible with the standards. So keeping this in mind, like we wanted to have some people from the community get into the system, and they may be having some inclination towards some people may have inclination towards improving the documentation part, some people on the release document, release packaging, or improving the scripts towards that, and some people may be interested in the architecture designing and development of that. So keeping these points in mind, wanted to have like KubeEdge maintainers have the thought of having the community member, one approver in place, and one reviewer in the SIG documentation, one member in the as a co-lead in the SIG release, and one member in as a member in the SIG release, one approver in the SIG architecture, and one reviewer in the SIG architect. So related to this SIG, respective SIG governance documentations and charter related to that, we'll start slowly uploading, where it will explain the roles and responsibilities of such a SIG group, and what and respective role of the approver or the reviewer over there. So this way we can start improving our governance in the KubeEdge community. So as of now, like we don't have a steering community, but the steering community has been basically mocked by the KubeEdge maintainers. Everybody know like there are like 6 to 7 owners in the list. So these people will be actively giving the guidance for the formation of the SIG respective SIG groups, or like any kind of groups. It may be like work group or the user group. So any short-term objective like which we want KubeEdge maintainers think like, yeah, we can have it as a work group and we can achieve this creation of work group, right, which a specific purpose. So which can be a short-lived objective. So that will be handled by the work group. So we can see there are several work groups in the Kubernetes community like IoT, our Edge group and machine learning group, policy groups are there. So similarly, with an particular objective in the KubeEdge, we will identify and we will welcome the committee members to be part of the work group. Yeah, like.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you share the link of the spreadsheet, please?
Actually, this I have temporarily written. I will a little bit reform and check into a drive, KubeEdge drive, and share the link.
Okay, thank you.
Because none of the things, right, these are all referring to the KubeEdge community governance or the policy documents only. So respectively referring to that, I am refining which is better to adapt from the KubeEdge as of now. So I have to refine it. It's just a proposal, and I am sharing a thought in front of the community members. So like you can suggest to us. It's good to have, or like what are the things we can start with, kind of thing. Okay. So similarly, like we are looking for the even some of the companies to adapt our KubeEdge project in their maybe into their commercial things or in the production, right? So in that case, like if some companies are coming and we will have a user group who will closely work with them. This group will be basically aiming to give the requirements to the KubeEdge SIG groups. So and they will not be influencing the release, but indeed they will be supporting to the commercial teams, production teams, which they want their requirements to be addressed in the KubeEdge. So this way, having some different set of groups with particular objectives, right? I feel like we feel like we can slowly start having the structured governance in our KubeEdge project. So this is my thoughts. Based on that, respectively, I will start writing some of the documentation or the governance related points for a specific SIG group, and we will share these thoughts in the Slack channel. So I will check in this one after a little bit of refinement and share this part details in the Slack. Any thoughts you people have which you want to suggest to us, like so that like we can improve the community participation and they can own certain areas which they like to do. Like you people saw like a lot of features. There are categories related to network, storage, upgrade. Several things are coming into. Slowly we can expand it, divide it into different SIG groups, vertical SIG and horizontal SIG kind of thing. And that particular group can work in that area. Any suggestions or any thoughts?
I think this is Kevin. I think from the beginning, from my perspective, I think release and the documenting are very important. So for the architecture, I think actually we today we have maintainers reviewing all the design proposals. So that's fine. I'm open. Either we want to start make it to SIG or not. And for document and the release, I think that's important. I also heard some of the community users that they still think that there are not enough documents for either users or contributors. So we definitely need more documents to guide users to adoption or help contributors to contribute. And I think we for the project development we have many things on the list. So have a group of people spend a lot of effort on the release, make it a better way is very important.
Yeah, right, Kevin. Yeah. So first, primarily we will work on the documentation improvement. Then.
Yeah, but just to add, currently the spreadsheet is a little bit confusing because you have the description under the approver or SIG lead that mentions only one community member. So I would suggest you maybe turn it to how many SIG leads we would have for SIG, or
okay.
So the members actually it should be open so everyone can just join, or any other special roles we need for running a SIG, or for example when running a release, do we need something like a release champion or sort of roles?
Yeah, sure, Kevin. Like respective SIG wise, I will still need to go through that thoroughly. What kind of specific roles are there in the Kubernetes things, and so that particular SIG lead role or SIG members things I will add over here.
Yeah, and maybe initially we can turn it to a proposal. I mean, whether it's just a Google Doc, it's fine. So people can leave comments there, and we can iterate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
sure.
Spreadsheet is not friendly for giving comments.
Okay. Sure. I will make it. Any other suggestions or comments from the community members?
Is it possible to share the link to read after the meeting this document again?
Yeah, sure. I will make it in a document, and so that like it will. I will open it up as a proposal, so members can comment on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's fine. If you can also just checking this spreadsheet to our team drive and mark it as the very drafting version, and we will have a later on a document version, and people can iterate there.
Sure. Okay, I think like we can move to last agenda. Shufe?
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Okay, over to you. Can you provide some updates and insights? Any suggestion?
Okay. Let's see the last part. Yeah.
Scroll the screen, please.
Yeah. Scroll.
Okay.
More. It's at the last.
Okay.
Yeah, to last.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. The last part is some response and use case from the KubeCon Shanghai. First is some response, and user said to me that KubeEdge is the only one Kubernetes native edge computer framework, and they are very willing to try it. But they said we need to improve the doc, especially the part of install example. So they can more easy to try the KubeEdge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a response. Next is some questions the users told to me. The first is whether the KubeEdge covers the situation that the edge part move from like one available route to another. Yes, they want the edge part connect to the cloud in another available route when the edge part move to another available route. Yeah, this is the first question. And the next is when edge part offline now, whether the application will migrate. Now, yes, now we don't have any change to the cloud part to the Kubernetes. So in the Kubernetes, when the node offline, the application will migrate now. Yes. Here maybe we need to add some admission hook to add some toleration tints to the node and the application to make the application don't migrate if the edge part offline. Yeah, the next is how to manage the edge site in the cloud. Yes, now we already have the edge site in the edge. You want to manage that in the cloud. Yeah, the next is you want to know how to sync the data between the edge and the cloud through use the KubeEdge. Yes, they want to sync some data like from edge to the cloud. Yes, the last question is some users said they want to run a complete kubelet in an edge node. Yes, not the cut like in KubeEdge.
That's very funny. So why they want to run the complete kubelet in the edge node? So this is not complying with the idea of the edge computing, right?
Yeah.
This is what KubeEdge does, and different with the Kubernetes.
Yeah. They want to use the whole function about the kubelet.
So he even want to just use Kubernetes.
Yeah.
I think the question comes from the one background is that we actually don't have a very clear document showing that how many exact features we support for the edge node, or we just give a comparison how many functionalities are removed from KubeEdge because we think that's not necessary. So in that way, some people may want to try use vanilla Kubernetes at the edge, so they just know everything is there. So I think at least the one thing clear we can do is that we can identify exactly the features supported currently from KubeEdge and document that.
I think there's another project which is using a complete kubelet on the edge node with K3s and Rancher.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't get a closer look on it, but I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that could be one reason, because K3S just removed the unstable features and probably some of the beta features that is not enabled by default, and they also pass the Kubernetes conformance test. So that kind of telling people the functionality set of K3S support. But today in KubeEdge we have some of the description, but I think that's not very detailed into functionality wise. So so I think we need to document that. And some people may not quite clear about what the functionalities they exactly need at the edge. So in that case, they just want everything, and
Yes,
we need also explain our view, our vision, like what are necessary at the edge.
will you create an issue on GitHub for this?
Yeah, so let's do it. Let's have create an issue to check that.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions from anyone? Something someone would like to say?
No, I have nothing to say now.
I would like to say thank you to change the time of the meeting.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
It was comfortable for us also, actually. Okay.
Okay, thank you guys for joining.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for participating.
Okay, so last thing to add, I think we probably have only maybe 2 weeks window for finalizing the feature set for the next release. So please give comment on the issue and or just this document to provide your idea about the feature and work priority, and also feel free to volunteer, take some of this.
What's the timeline for the next formal release?
Currently, I think for next release, we are targeting by the end of August.
August. Okay.
Okay, thanks Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thanks everyone.